Are we live? Are we good? What's going on? The computer's acting crazy. Let's see. If you can hear me, put a comment in the comment bar, please, so I can see what's going on. Anyone at all? Looks like we only have one person. I'll wait a couple minutes. I know I'm late. I don't know why the live stream wasn't working well. Apparently, you needed some special download. I don't know. I don't know why I just can't connect to the camera. But yeah. So we'll just wait a couple minutes for some more people to come into the chat. I just posted something on Google Classroom, so we shall see. A couple of you are saying it's not working. Let's see if it works now. Saying no. Why can't you add the link? Well, this is not working like I thought it would. Let's try this. Pesky. Oh, of course it's not working. Right, let's see. Hey, what's going on? Exciting. People are actually on. Awesome. So, we're going to give a couple more minutes to the people. This is really exciting. I didn't know if this would actually work. So, this is really cool that it's actually working. Um, oh, we got another person. Identify yourself. Let me see who you are. Mr. Roebuck should be coming in soon, hopefully. We shall see what we shall see. How's everything going, Brianna? Everything good with your family with this health crisis? My family won't stop talking about it. Yeah. Hopefully everything is well. Hopefully you're all doing well. Um, Hopefully in the future this will go seamlessly and we won't have to worry about, you know, links or anything annoying. Um, yeah. So to any of my new people who just came into the room, please say hi or something so that I know who you are. Okay, because I want to make sure that as many people as possible are here. I'm gonna write it down. Yeah, Anthony. That's fine. Your student account will work just perfectly. I know. I'm doing a lot of eating and sleeping as well. Hey, Michaela. What's going on? Oh no, we lost two people. Ah. So just off the bat, I guess we can start. I don't know how many people are actually going to come on live. Um, this is just a test run. Thank you for following the links if you could, going to the YouTube page and playing the live. Um, I'm really excited to try this e-learning stuff, so it's interesting for me as a student teacher to kind of see what's going on um, and how well y'all are transitioning from, um, you know, face-to-face learning to e-learning. So first, I guess if you had any questions or comments or anything from the video you guys watched the other day, let me know. Hi, Jimin. How are you? Um, you could start putting a question or a comment into the live chat stream, and I will answer all of your questions and address all of your comments. Okay? Um, you could also let me know what you think, if you like this live chat. I mean, barring the initial not working, it's awesome to see my awesome face. Or did you like the, the, what's it called? Like screencast lecture? Um, I don't know. If you liked it, let me know. If you didn't like it, let me know. Um, I'm trying to experiment as much as I can with this e-learning stuff while I'm able to, just so that, you know, in the future when I actually get my own classroom, we can start trying to change up some traditional ways of learning. Anthony, that's a good idea for the chat so that we can all talk to each other. I would just have to figure out how we would go about that without using cell phone numbers. I know that there's Zoom, um, but I want to make sure with Mr. Roebuck and the administration that we won't get into any trouble. Okay. Yeah, the Ed puzzle is annoying. Mr. Roebuck and I are looking into Screencastify. Okay. We are looking to Screencast. We just tried it with the US2 kids the other day. They loved it. Um, Hopefully, most of them loved it and they weren't lying to me. But it was a much better way, and it recorded everything, and it was just much better than Ed Puzzle. Ed Puzzle, I just wanted to see how it worked. Obviously, it didn't work well. Um, yeah. Why did Germany just not start a war? Couldn't they have just stayed neutral? They could have stayed neutral, but remember, um, they were like best friends with Austria-Hungary at the time, and since that assassination happened, think of the assassination as the spark for the war. When the assassination of the Austrian prince happened, or the Archduke, um, Germany kind of said, oh, you're going to war with Serbia, okay, and by extent Russia. If you're going to war with them, we'll come in and help you. Did the Germans think it would turn into a world war? I don't know. Probably not. They probably wouldn't have done it if they knew their colonies would be hit as hard as they were. Okay? But everything kind of happens as a domino effect. Archduke Ferdinand's assassinated, okay, by the Serbians. Austria-Hungary declares war on the Serbians. Russia, who has Serb blood in them, right? They are supporters of Serbia. They are saying, yes, we will help you, Serbia. We will help you stand up to Austria-Hungary. So then Russia declares war and Serbia declares war on Austria-Hungary. Germany says, no, you're not going to fight my friend, steps in. And so all these different countries are starting to get pulled into this conflict. Okay? So for Germany to stay neutral, it would have looked bad for the alliance system. It would have made them weaker because they would have lost an ally. Just wouldn't have been good. Discord. What is Discord? I will have to check. Oh, well, none of it's literal, but I will check it out. It is weird to see me in a hoodie, right? I know. I'm missing my tie. I was going to come down in my pajamas, but then I was like, better put on a hoodie or something. My allergies are acting up really badly, so whatever. We're going to do it like this. Germany did not have to go through Belgium. Okay? Remember, the Schlieffen Plan was a way for Germany to get rid of France as quickly as possible so that they could turn all of their attention to Russia. So, Germany says, all right, we already have this little tiny battlefront with France on that border. How can we open up that border so that we can get past the trenches to get deeper into France to Paris? Okay? They say, what if we come from the north? What if we charge down and go through Belgium? Because Belgium's weak. They're neutral. They're a small country. They don't have that many allies. Okay? So if we, go through Belgium, that opens up another miles and miles of land that we can fight and charge through. Okay? The wider the front is, the thinner the troops will be. Therefore, the easier it will be for Germany to get through. Okay, so if Germany's up here, they're charging through Belgium, they're going to try to get into France. Right now, they only have, right here. I wish you could show maps on here. Maybe you can. I'll have to check that out. So the idea is you want a bigger border so that you can extend your fighting. Okay, plus they weren't expecting the French to really be ready to fight. So if they go through Belgium, it's really a way for them to take the French off guard. Okay? However, What they were not expecting was Great Britain to step in and say, hey, you can't just invade Belgium. They're our friends. We're in an alliance with them. And so it kind of blows back into Germany's face. Good, we're starting to ask questions. Thank you for addressing that, Bree. Michaela, what does two front mean? So two front, remember Germany's in the middle, France is on this side, Russia's on this side. So we have two different fronts. We have two different battle fronts. When we say front, we mean battlefront. Okay? So we have two different sides of the country that are fighting. Two different sides we need to send resources and troops to. Two different sides we need to keep an eye on, right? Because Russia's coming in from this way, France is coming in from this way. There's no country above Germany because that's just one of the seas, and below it are different countries, all right, that aren't fighting with Germany. So the two-front war is that there's two different battle fronts, one from France, one from Russia. Why did the United States have to step in? When you study US 2, you'll get a lot more information on why the United States stepped in. When I teach it, I'm usually going through how they're looking at the war, what they're doing. I just put up a video the other day, not on this channel, but actually it was on this channel, about what the Americans were doing as this war is going on. Okay. But the biggest reason was Germany said, hey, the United States is very powerful. They're a very strong country. So, if we are able to get Mexico to start fighting the United States, okay, then we can keep the United States out of Europe. We don't have to worry about them. So Germany's still fighting over in Europe, right? They're still fighting the French, the British, and the Russians. They say, let's make sure that the United States doesn't get into this war. So what they decide is to send a thing called the Zimmerman Note, and that says to Mexico, hey Mexico, if you invade the United States, if you charge in, if you help us keep the United States in North America, we will give you the lands you lost in the Mexican-American War. All right, and that's something you'll go into much more in depth in US 1 next year. But the big idea was, wow, Germany just asked Mexico to invade. Okay, if they're asking to invade, that must be a declaration of war. So the United States says, well, if you're trying to tell the people to the south of us to invade, we're going to start fighting you. So the United States declares war on Germany. And if I don't answer your question like completely or the way that you were thinking, make sure you tell me in the comments, or if you still don't understand, please make sure you're telling me. Were they always in the trenches? For the most part, they were in the trenches. You got to remember, the trenches were layers of defense. So just because you were on the front line, or just because you were in one of the upper trenches, like towards the front line, didn't necessarily mean you were constantly taking fire. And remember, these sides weren't constantly shelling each other. They weren't constantly shooting at each other. Most of the time it was quiet. Okay? So, while you're in the trenches, you can eat your food, you can sleep, you can do whatever you need to do, and then they go back, right? So you have your trench here, pretend the battlefront's right here. The trenches go back into tunnels, they go into more trenches, they go up into the hills where the commanders will be sitting with the artillery, with the hospitals. So most of the time when they were fighting, they were in the trenches. However, most of the fighting took place in between the trenches. So if you had Germany on this side and France on this side, the forces would charge in, and they would be fighting in this thing called no man's land. Okay? No man's land is where most of the fighting happened. It's where everybody was killed. It's just this desolate place full of mud and corpses, and it's really gruesome. Oh, and when you're saying why were they in the trenches were just a good way to make sure that the enemy cannot advance too far. Okay, so if I have those trenches, like I talked about in the video the other day, I know it was hard to see with the pictures. However, um, most of the trenches were deep enough where it was very difficult to overrun them. Okay, and we talked about how most of the war was spent in a stalemate. So these trenches provided a good way to make sure that that stalemate, really stayed a thing. And I know this is a lot of information, um, but what you need to know is in the PowerPoint. Okay, I won't test you or quiz you on anything that's not written in that PowerPoint. Okay, um, it's an important point. All right, I know this is a lot of information. This is just to address your questions. So let's move on. Jimin, how did the Allies get in contact with countries like Japan and Australia in the first place? How did they help the Allies other than taking over German territories in Asia? So, I mean, in terms of getting in contact with them, they had the telegrams. Okay, at this point, we're in 1917, between 1914 and 1918. We have telegrams. You could always send an ambassador via ship, but it was much easier to do uh, telegrams, Morse code, all of those kinds of things to communicate with Australia and Japan. Okay, and Japan and Australia, Australia would send troops. Okay, they would send troops to Europe. The Japanese, I don't believe that they sent any troops to Europe. However, um, they would be making sure that everything was okay in Asia. Okay, because Germany had a good deal of influence in Asia. So it was Japan's primary job to kind of make sure that Germany wasn't spreading too much in Asia. Okay, but the Australians, they were, in addition to taking colonies, sending troops. All right, because technically Australia is still a, but it's part of the Commonwealth of the United Kingdom of Great Britain. So technically, think of it like this: we had the 13 colonies in the United States, and then, Great Britain was in control of us. Same thing with Australia. Okay, so Australia is loyal to Great Britain always. Did Germany not know Great Britain, and I'm assuming you mean Belgium, were in an alliance? They probably did. However, they probably thought, oh, they're not gonna come into this war because it's just an alliance kind of thing. And I mean, maybe they did, and maybe they thought Great Britain is not going to be that difficult to fight. Maybe they underestimated how strong Great Britain would be. But most of these alliances were. This is the problem with the alliance system. They're so messy and so intertwined that it's very difficult to remember who is in an alliance with whom. Okay? So, yeah, they charged in. Did they think the British were going to help support the French? Not really. They had been enemies with each other for a long time. So, yeah, it was more of the idea that if we charge through Belgium, we're trying to get to France. We're not going to hold Belgium. We're just charging through to get to France. So the idea wasn't necessarily conquer Belgium, but it was to take a little bit of land so we can charge through, make a new front. Okay. So perhaps they didn't think that the United Kingdom would say, oh, they're trying to get to France, or, oh, they're trying to take over Belgium. Okay, so maybe they thought Great Britain was saying, oh, Belgium is going to be fine. They're just using this for the war. Everything will be okay. Okay, I know that's a confusing answer, but the alliance system was so complex and just entangled that it's very confusing. But they probably did know that Belgium and Great Britain were in an alliance. Okay? I feel like most of the class thought it was 8:15. Yeah. So I said it would be 8:15 today, but apparently when you're trying to do a live stream on YouTube, you need a second downloadable, uh, I don't know, what's it called? Downloadable content or something that allows you to uh, show yourself and connect, but which doesn't make sense because I already have a camera and a mic on my computer, so I don't know why it just doesn't connect to YouTube. So that's the reason for the delay. I was down here um, doing everything at 8, so I was here. It's just the live stream was taking a long time to get set up. Oh god, bruh. So the USSR started in World War I and discombobulated in World War II. So, the USSR, very interesting. We're going to be sticking with them for a little while. Okay, next week we'll talk about the Russian Revolution. All you need to know right now is that the Russians pulled out of the war because they were going through their communist revolution. Okay, they pulled out of the war. Lenin, Stalin, Trotsky, all those guys, they are right now fighting to overthrow the Tsar. Okay, they want to control Russia with a communist system, um, and the Soviet Union would actually stay in place until 1991. Okay, so they weren't so much discombobulated in World War II because they were under Stalin. Okay, they were actually stronger under Stalin than they were under Lenin. Um, but the USSR would start in 1917 and end in 1991. Okay. Um, we'll talk about World War II when they are a little taken off guard when Germany attacks, but they never fell. Okay. In fact, they were instrumental in taking down Nazi Germany. Okay. Like in Wonder Woman. What are you referring to in Wonder Woman? I've seen it, but I'm not sure what part you mean. After the battle was over, was gaining 10 miles of land considered a lot? No, it was not. Um, it was when you compare it to the other victories, it was considered a major victory because you gained 10 miles. However, it still was just 10 miles. You weren't that much closer to getting into Germany and ending the war. You weren't that much closer to getting to Paris and ending the war. Okay, 10 miles was not great. Soldiers knew this. Okay, and they knew that, now this puts us at a disadvantage because even though we're 10 miles deeper into the territory, well, now we're surrounded, right? Because just because we pushed in 10 miles doesn't mean that the border got moved, doesn't mean that the entire battlefront got moved, only as far as your troops made it. So you're still surrounded by the enemy, okay? So 10 miles, not that great. Oh, Lenin pulled Russia out of the war because, first of all, it was killing millions of Russians. Second of all, usually socialists and communists don't really want to be in conflicts, okay, in foreign affairs. They really want to leave countries to do their own thing. You'll see that changes a lot under the Soviet Union. But Lenin really pulled out because the Tsar wanted to be in it. Okay, and if you're trying to rebel against the Tsar, you're not going to do the same thing that he did. Okay, Russians were generally against the war. It was exhausting Russia. It was just a bad situation. So Lenin said, hey, I'll get more support if I pull Russia out of the war. Google Hangout. Well, I was looking into Google Hangout, but Zoom is a little bit, I don't know. I think it works better for larger crowds, but I'll have to check into that. And again, check in with the administration and Mr. Roebuck and all them. Bree discombobulated means like basically falling apart, confused, overwhelmed. Yeah. Oh, yes, Craig. No Man's Land, yes. Yep, you're right. That's from Wonder Woman. Yep. That nastiness that they showed with the mud and the just bleakness of the grayness of the dirt and the sky and a horrible place. They portrayed that very well. We're not going to talk about the League of Nations next week. We're going to talk about that the following week. Next week, we're going to talk about the Russian Revolution um, because it's happening before the end of the war. Um, so if we're moving chronologically, it just makes sense to hit the Russian Rev, um, their relationship with World War One and the other countries. So that way, when we do get to the League of Nations, we'll know why certain things happened to Russia that wouldn't have happened if they stayed in the war. Yeah, Craig, and the trenches. Yep. Although I think the best portrayal of the trenches I've seen is in 1917. It's a great movie. Great movie. Marvel is usually better in every aspect. Yes, Brie. Yeah, DC is trash. So, yeah, Anthony, the Zoom does only have 40-minute meetings, but I don't anticipate it taking this long. I know this is taking a long time, but this is our first time, so yeah. Does anybody have any other questions before we end this? I'm very, very, very happy with everybody who turned out. Um, this is exciting. It's a cool way to learn. Um, if there's no more questions, I'll give you another minute or two to type. Um, if not, you can go. Have a great day. Keep looking on Google Classroom. You're doing great. What was the main country to get rid of in World War One? Germany. Germany was the main country you wanted to take down. Germany was the most powerful in the Central Powers. Um, they had the most resources. Remember, they're coming strong under Otto von Bismarck. Okay, they're very unified, very strong, very industrialized. They're ready to go. All right, I'm still taking questions. Again, if you want to go, you're more than welcome to leave. I know I kept you. I kept you about the time I said I would. When can I come back to school? You can come back to school when the governor says so. Okay? Believe me, we're all wishing we were back at school right now. Oh yeah, Jimin. I will not ever do anything in the evening or at night. Um, I'm trying to stick with normal school hours, so but I definitely will differentiate. But it'll usually always 99.9% of the time be in the AM. Okay? I know there's way too many distractions at my house too. I'm trying to get stuff done and I'm just like, oh, TV. I want to watch that. Anything else? Well, it was great talking to all of you guys. Um, I hope that all is well. I hope that you're all healthy and strong and just hunkering down and enjoying your rest. Okay. Um, hopefully this will all be over soon. Okay. Craig, I love doing work on my couch too. However, there's a lot of distractions because what's in front of the couch? The TV. Can you make lives a bit later? Because it was a struggle. Yeah, I just wanted to. I figured most people would be checking history at around 8 a.m. So I wanted to not make anybody wait. Again, this is the first one. We're just testing. Thank you for asking. It's a good idea. I'd like to sleep into. Stay safe, Anthony. Is this all we have for history today? Yep. If you have not done so already, make sure you could do this in a comment. You can do it however you want to do. Make sure you submit to me your questions and comments so that I know you actually made them up. If you haven't asked them in the live chat, okay. Bree, you're very lucky. Keep being comfortable in bed. Go back to sleep. Enjoy your day. All right, so I'll end it here. Have a great day. If you need anything, do email us. We are always available. Yeah. See you guys soon, hopefully. All right, bye.